Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we enter this steel cage right in front of me. We enter the war games. It is another fucking podcast, and it is the grudge match of the century. David Lee Roth versus Sammy Hagar. Sam versus Dave. Eat 'em and Smile versus Van Halen's 5150. And oh, do we have a panel for you. We've got Greg Renoff. We've got Ahmet Zappa. We've got Mike Dawson from the Adam Carolla Show. We've got Joe Augello. Andre Comeau is back. Paul Gargano. Something called Red Cup Geoff. And the star of the new Del Taco commercial. The rock star of the century. Ladies and gentlemen, finally coming back to another fucking podcast. Michael Starr from Steel Panther. The only band that still gets to see titties at their shows, and God bless them. It is going to be one for the ages, one you do not want to miss. Because right now, we climb into this steel cage and we argue Eat 'em and Smile versus 5150. And maybe, just maybe if you're lucky, we will argue about the Golden Girls. Here we go, folks. Another fucking podcast. Drunken Summit. Oh, and it's Izzy's birthday. So there may be some Jack Daniels involved.
Hi, this is Bobby Brown, and welcome to another fucking podcast.
Hello, Southern California! Are you ready to get down? I give you the mighty Van Halen! New Halen! Look at all the people here tonight! I forgot the fucking word!
Van Halen was a part of my youth. I mean, we used to drew the Van Halen logo on our notebooks in high school, along with the Rolling Stones, like the mouth and, you know, all the Kiss logo. When it switched over to Sammy Hagar, it became a different thing. It was a different thing.
It's a whole different pivot.
I mean, it wasn't a bad thing.
No.
But it was a different thing.
All of Sam's lyrics contain love.
Yes.
Okay, why can't this be love? And I ain't talking about love. We'll be right back with more fighting after this.
That's not a microphone in my pants. I'm just happy to see you, California! Somebody give me a shot!
Hello, Hollywood. Hello, world. Hello, my loyal minions. It is good to see you, and it's always good to be seen. Special Monday edition. Why? Because I got older and fatter today. It is my 48th birthday.
Happy birthday to you.
Hey-oh. I know, like, the chick thing is to stop counting, but fuck it. Whatever, man. I'm getting old. I'm getting fat. I don't care. So let's get the shots up already if anybody's got them.
I got mine right here, man.
Is this the
Happy birthday?
Happy
birthday.
Thank you very much. Is this the expensive shit that you tried to choke down on your show a couple weeks ago with Paulie?
This is a whiskey that I enjoy, and it's just Nicka coffee grain whiskey, so I can't remember it. It's my go-to. What are you drinking there, Izzy?
This is a beautiful shot of Jack Daniels.
Oh, hey, well, we're both on the whiskey tip.
There you go.
I'm representing for the vaginas. I have rosé.
Good for you.
Good
Nice.
for you. Dawson's rocking the
First thing I saw when I
My
was-
selection is from the Rocky Mountains.
There you
I
go.
don't know if you've heard of it, but it's called C minus.
Yeah.
All right, folks. You guys know the drill. Hit up all the social media at Real Izzy Presley all the way across the board, Twitter, Instagram, and the Facebook. And of course, the show page is Another Effing Podcast. There is a shop now link if you want to buy my amazing t-shirts and swag. Click that right there if you like what I do and want to donate to the show like listener Mike did last week. Thank you very much. Going to send him out a little swag bag as a thank you. izzypresley at yahoo.com is that PayPal. So tonight, we're going to have some fun. Yes, we did a Van Halen Remembers show a couple weeks ago. And we're still doing it, but then we're gonna settle in and finally have the war to settle the score. The ultimate Sam versus Dave conversation. Eat 'em and Smile versus 5150. And I think there's gonna be some Dave fans that are mad at me after this, but I don't care. With us tonight, starting top to bottom. Top left, Mike Dawson, Adam Carolla Show, and his band is called The Smoke and Kills. Welcome
What's
back,
happening?
my friend.
What's happening, party people? This is the place to be. Happy birthday, you fat old fuck.
Thank you. Thank you very much. The bald man with the Bruce or with the Bob Kulick look. Ladies and gentlemen, you know him from Sirius XM. Rock Tales. Ahmet Zappa is back. Welcome.
I'm so happy I'm a top and not a bottom.
Yeah. Bottom left, Metal Edge Magazine. Paul Gargano has returned.
Hello. Now, but on my screen, I'm in the top right. So I'm a bottom and a top.
Well, yeah, your verse. Your verse. Your
For
verse.
you.
Middle bottom, Mr. Greg Renoff. Buy his books. They are the Ted Templeman book and Van Halen Rising, sporting that killer bootleg Van Halen shirt. Look at that.
The Mark Stone logo. So I don't know if I'm a top or a bottom, but that's not a microphone in my pants. I'm just happy to see you all tonight.
Greg, I love your book, by the way. Sorry to interrupt you. I just love the Ted Templeman book.
Thanks.
So
Thank you.
And welcome back as well, my good buddy Joe Augello from the Robin Thicke Band and my country project called Wildwood Tommy. Yes, we Joe, you gotta turn your mic on, buddy. Sometimes that helps. Sometimes that helps.
yeah, you guys make music together. He's a professional.
You know, scientists put years of research and development into these little things. Just respect the science. We'll be okay.
Pretty excited to hear that. Big boy, nothing.
Has anybody been listening to anything other than Van Halen for the last 2 weeks?
No.
Some Mozart here and there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's pretty much been EVH all the way.
Yeah. What eras have you guys been rocking? You doing the whole thing? Or you just sticking to the Dave? You sticking to the Sammy? What's your cup of tea?
Well, I'm gonna just dive in. There's actually one record I've never listened to, the Gary Sharon record. Not ever. Even I never saw a music video. I have like complete blinders to it. So that's the one record I don't get into at all, and I don't ever plan on doing it.
Yeah, you know what? I've tried to go back and listen to it. I just can't. Jericho was on Sirius this weekend saying, "Oh yeah, you got to respect this record. I mean, it's Van Halen, it's Eddie, it's his legacy." And it's like, no, I just can't. And that's not a shot at Gary. It's just I don't think it's a good record.
Yeah.
I love Gary. I love Extreme. I love his vocals. It's just that combination just feels like nails on a chalkboard. Can't do it.
Well, yeah, I guess I like the idea because he's a guy that can, sing both eras. He's somebody that could do it. Ladies and gentlemen, now joining from the Real World Season 1, Andre Comeau, everybody.
Oh, hey. How's it going, guys?
How you doing, pal?
Well, good, thanks. Happy birthday.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate it. You got here just as we're diving into this bad boy.
All right. Glad to be here.
Glad to have you, man.
So ask him what you asked all of us. What's your favorite song off the Gary Sharon album?
How many say I? How's that?
You actually know songs off that album?
You named one, so you just won. That was your get out of jail free card. Right?
Totally. Yeah, it's only because he has it on the side screen.
Yeah, right.
he's like prepared for this.
No, Paul, hey, I was gonna say, Paul, I was an avid reader of Metal Edge, and then I like avid reader, got it every month off the newsstand, and you guys covered that record like intensely. Like it was like I felt like it was like you guys walked through like every single step, like everything, the video making of the videos, it was the whole thing. So you like must have a lot of like very detailed memories of
payola,
that.
Bro. It's called payola. The label is like Metal Edge is gonna fucking cover this. And they're like, how many ads did Warner's take out?
I will say this honestly, if you go back, and that was when I was just starting at Metal Edge, and that was like the wet dream combination. Like no fan wanted Gary Cherone to be the guy in Van Halen,
right?
But Jerry Miller could not have dreamed up a better singer for Van Halen, because she had the relationship. That was her like new in with Van Halen, and she loved that. She was all about that, and it was like Dave wasn't even in Metal Edge. She wouldn't cover Dave, so it was
really.
Yeah, there was drama in so many different directions. So that Gary record, she jumped all over that.
I remember that.
She had
Wait a minute. Drama and David Lee Roth? Never heard those two words in the same sentence before.
Good point, Mike.
Yeah.
I would love to hear those stories one day. That sounds really interesting. But yeah, I just have very, very vivid, like, be like Metal Edge is at the video shoot. Metal Edge is here. It was like every step of the way along, from the
Gary was custom made to endure whatever Jerry wanted. That's the only way I could put it, because Dave wouldn't endure that, and Sammy did it to a certain extent, but Gary was the guy who would just be like, "Oh yeah, I'll do it. Anything you want me to do, let's do it.
Yeah, that's cool."
On the Adam Carolla show recently, we had Patty Smythe on, and apparently Patty from Scandal, she was asked after DLR left the band to take the helm of Van Halen. And she had mentioned in this interview, she was like, looking back on it, like 2 months down the road, I'm like, why the hell did I say no? But then she heard Sammy with the band. She's like, well, that's why I said no.
Right.
Thank you for Sammy, right?
Can anybody here imagine Van Halen with a female singer?
Never.
That would be awesome. I can. But
I would love to hear it. I can't imagine it.
Yeah.
See, I would love the lead singer from the Divinals, who I'm the biggest fan of, Christy Amphlett. If I'm saying her last name right, I could be bastardizing it, but yeah, I feel like she could have given you some real heartbreaking, soulful rock.
I'll throw you guys a tidbit. When I talked to Don Landy, and I would talk to him occasionally and doing the Templeman book, he mentioned to me that Patty was up at 5150 a few times, like jamming, basically. Like,
really?
That may be not public knowledge to people, I don't know, but Don was like, yeah, she'd come up and, play, and Ed was writing songs, basically throwing song ideas at her. I don't think it got very far, but it was, it was more than just like call up someone, go, hey, would you like to play? Like, she actually came and hung out with him and stuff, and at the studio a few times or whatever.
I guess it's too bad that my buddy Ryan Cook from the Ace Frehley band isn't here, because he had this post and a story that I've never heard before. He was at a gas station and Eddie was getting gas right by him. And, him being a fucking young, long-haired bronze buck here in LA is like, hey, man, I'm a singer. And Eddie's like, really? It's like, yeah, dude, I live right around the corner. And Eddie's like, all right, let's go. And he took him up there and he played Eddie's tapes at his apartment.
That's crazy.
Like, dude, the fuck? How have we never heard this story before?
I gotta tell you, my brother has way better stories, but as a witness, because my brother and Eddie had a very unique, I think, friendship.
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember this again. My brother is 5 years older than me, so my brother's in 8th grade at school, about to perform at a talent show, and Edward shows up in his Lambo Rambo, right? Music just blaring, parks wherever the fuck he wants, right? Just like, music's so loud you could hear it from miles away, to deliver he gave one of his guitars to play.
Holy shit.
at my brother's talent show, and it was I mean, is there anything that more baller for an 8th grader?
Right.
Eddie Van Halen's my guitar roadie. Hang on one second. Let me get my guitar from him.
Yeah, it was an
Amazing.
extraordinary thing, and I remember thinking that was fucking awesome. And my only brush with brush with greatness story is that same age we went and saw when they played in LA. I don't know why I can't remember what stadium it was. But anyways, backstage, super excited. David Lee Roth was not wearing any underwear. He was wearing assless, chaps with no pants. And
of course,
I thought that was really weird to watch.
You guys had matching outfits. So you guys had matching outfits.
We had matching outfits. Right. I'm like, that's weird.
Why didn't Dave tell me he's going to wear the same thing as me?
Exactly. But so that I remember feeling really weird about that, being very tired because I'm 8 or 9, and then when I saw Eddie, like what you were drinking, Izzy, he had in a brown fucking paper bag a bottle of Jack, like the perfect handheld, like a little bit bigger than a flask. And he was like, "Hey man, you want some?" Offered me Jack Daniels, and I was like, "No, I was so confused. I thought he was serious. Maybe he was serious. I don't know, but
right.
I turned down the adult beverage. It was so fucking rock and roll, and Edward, it's fucking horrible, man. Is every hero? They're all gonna die.
I know.
They're all gonna die, bro.
I know. Ahmet, all I gotta say is Dawson had a point to make. The only thing that can make that story about your brother cooler is if he actually wrote "My Guitar Wants to Kill Your Mama" on stage after he was given that guitar.
Well, that song was written by my dad. My Guitar Wants to Kill Your Mama.
Really?
Ahmet,
Yeah.
That story you told is the reason why Hollywood exists. You understand?
Yeah.
What was the song he did? Wasn't it My Mother Was a Space Cadet?
Yeah, Crunchy Water.
Crunchy Water, yeah.
So Eddie was originally supposed to produce that one.
All right, Geoff, I have to mute you because all we can hear is background noise. Red Cup Geoff is here, and he's in a bar.
Surprise!
All right, let's try to unmute him.
The least newsworthy story of the day: Jeff's in a bar. What the heck?
And he's wearing a shirt, ladies and gentlemen. Red Cup Geoff is wearing a shirt. We had to scrape the bottom of the barrel for this one, so we brought in something called Red Cup Geoff. And I muted him, and now he's not.
He's
He's like going crazy. We're just watching him drink, so you can see this. You can see this on fucking YouTube later.
Hey, Izzy, if I may, since we found out that Eddie Van Halen died, I've been wanting to share this one story on a podcast, and I've never had the opportunity.
Please.
I'm buckling up right now. Is this going to be good? Because I want to make sure
it's not awesome, but it'll be satisfying.
Okay, clicking in.
It's sufficient.
It's a sufficient story. So when I was music director APD at K-Tide in Santa Barbara, everybody's got their Westwood Run 1 reps, right? So I had my Westwood Run rep, and I ended up sleeping with her, and she became my girlfriend for a while. And one night she calls me, and she was at the big Westwood 1 thing, probably when they were doing the radio special on Best of Both Worlds, right? Yep. So they do an hour, and it's interviews with everybody, and there's a party somewhere in fucking LA, and my girlfriend outside is standing at a balcony, and she lights a cigarette, and she's sitting there smoking a cigarette, and she said some old guy came over, and he's like, "Hey, can I bum a cigarette?" And I'm like, "Of course." And she's like, "My name's Katie." And he goes, "Hi, Katie, I'm Ed. I'm not supposed to be smoking right now, but nobody else is out here." And I'm like, and she's telling me this story about this fucking homeless person she met fucking out on the balcony. I'm like, "What did he look like? And what was he wearing? And did he mention, whatever?" I'm like, Jesus Christ, you just put a nail in Eddie Van Halen's fucking coffin.
Andre, your MTV days, did you
have any contact? Did you like get any perks about going to shows or backstage or blowing somebody or whatever?
Not really. No, I mean, I guess I was at the not with Van Halen, anyways, not with the DLR or Van Halen folks, but I was at the '92 Video Music Awards, and that was the probably the only Video Music Awards that was worth worth watching. If you recall, that was the one where Chris Novoselic threw his bass up in the air and down on his head. That was a good lineup, though. They had, the Black Crowes opened up the show, and Nirvana played, Pearl Jam played. Who else?
Van Halen won. Didn't they win an award that night?
Yeah, they did actually. Yeah.
Didn't they perform Pound Cake?
That was the year before.
Was that 91?
Yeah.
Wasn't it Right Now? Or am I wrong?
They won the award for Right Now in '92.
Oh, okay.
Indy won.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
It's a good show.
Yeah. So that's the closest he came.
Yeah. Not really not met. I never met the guys, and
they didn't roll out the VIP for you and all access, and
they did. We had, but I didn't. Those guys were not hanging out.
Right. So you weren't like walking backstage going, real world. Real world.
Not really, no. I did meet Alyssa Milano, though. That was that show.
Back when she was.
I got the first time I met him. I had already. This was before I was. This was a year before I even wrote my first article for Metal Edge. I had interviewed him twice already for stuff in Wisconsin, and it was the Balance tour. It was August '95, I believe, in Hartford, Connecticut. And my sister, it was just my sister's 20th birthday. We are like the two least musically compatible people at the time that existed on the planet. And she loved Van Halen with Sammy Hagar. So I took her as my +1 to this show. And this was before Metal Edge. So I was like a big regional writer, but I wasn't national. They told me that there were going to be backstage passes, but I didn't expect there to really be backstage passes. So I didn't tell my sister. We got there, we pick up our tickets, and there's 2 backstage passes. So after the show, the tour manager, and he brings me back, and I got my sister with me, and he knocks on Eddie's dressing room, and he goes, "Eddie, I got Paul Gargano." And Eddie's like, send him in. So being the gentleman that I am, I knock my sister in ahead of me. I just like let her go first. Eddie was sitting on a couch, like shoveling food in his mouth. This was probably about 10, 15 minutes after the show, shoveling food in his mouth. He gets up and he just goes to cover his mouth, like we've seen countless musicians do before, not paying attention, stands up, like goes to grab like a napkin or something. His robe just swings wide open, and my sister is face to face with Eddie balls. I mean, it was the funniest. He just, what does he do at that point? He's just like, whoops, and he just closes his robe, and my sister was like, holy crap.
I just think your story won. You just won. That one wins.
That was wow.
Joe, you're saying you can't top that one?
Well, I told my story the last time.
Yeah, but only Greg in this panel heard it, so feel free to tell it again.
That's true. Yeah, I met him when I was 15 years old.
Oh yeah, this is a great story.
Yeah. So I grew up on Long Island, and we went to go see them on the OU 812 tour at the Nassau Coliseum. And it was me and my buddy Steve and my cousin Steve. And my cousin was like kind of like a star fucker. Like he would always try and like windle his way backstage and try and meet everybody in the band or whatever. He'd get thrown out a lot to shows, or he would like actually even jump on stage and, you know, get thrown out. But we got there. I think we were like the first people in the arena. We got in like super early, and we had the worst fucking seats in the whole arena. It was like, here was the stage. We were all the way up at the top in the back. So I was like, man, you know, whatever. I just want to be there. And my cousin was like, tonight, it's my goal that you're going to meet Eddie Van Halen. And I was like, dude, look at where we're sitting. And we were the only ones in the arena. It was like, you know, 6:30 or something, right when they opened the doors. So we were on stage right, like Michael Anthony's side. And my cousin is just like, I'm going down to the stage. And we were just like, do it, man. You know, if they throw you out, we're not coming to get you. So I watch him like go down down the stairs and like get smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And he was there for a long time, and I was just like kind of watching him. And my buddy Steve was like, you know what, I should probably go down there and just make sure he's okay. And he's like, you want to come? I was like, no. I was like, I'm sick of this, because he does this at every show. And so the
There's
two
a
of them were
club
down.
for dudes named Steve.
Yeah. My whole life I've been surrounded by them. And we were all in a band together. There was another Steve, and there was 3 Steves and me. We were all in this band. It was really fucked up.
Trifecta of Steves.
Yeah.
Mike's heard this story before.
Well, my other friend, his last name is Dawson, so he was the one that went down to check on my
Now
cousin.
I approve.
Yeah. And so I was just sitting there, you know, by myself, like watching them. And about 10 minutes later, they're going like this to me. So I was like, fuck, he's in trouble. You know, now I'm going to have to like call, you know, my uncle or whatever. So I make my way down there, and my cousin's flipping out. He's like, we just met Eddie Van Halen. He just came up and he talked to us. And my cousin was a keyboard player, and he had just gotten, back then was what, 1988. He got a Roland D50. And that was the same keyboard that Eddie was playing in the When It's Love video. So he was like, hey, he was like, I just met Eddie. And I was like, I'll stop it. I was like, you know, you got me all the way down here, you know, because he would always bullshit me. And I was like, you did not meet Eddie. He goes, no, check it out. He's like, I asked him what sounds that he used on the D50. He's like, for When It's Love. And he's going to check for me. And he's going to come back. And I started laughing. I was like, first of all, I was like, you did not meet Eddie Van Halen. I was like, second of all, even if you did, he's not going to go all the way back there and check on. And as I'm saying that, I heard, hey, Steve, you know, and I look over and here comes walking Eddie, you know, and right, I just fucking froze, you know, and here we are, 3 15-year-old fucking idiots, you know, from Long Island. And he comes up to my cousin and he's just like, so this is what I did. And he's rattling off like in great detail the sounds that he used, how he split the keyboards, and what he's layering. And he's like, and you know, under the stage, I got this and that. And he's going, and I was just like, holy fuck, like this guy is like, you know, he could have gotten anybody to do it. He could have gotten his tech to at least come and talk to my cousin or make some shit up or whatever. But he was like, he was so into it. And I was standing right next to my cousin, just like I lost my voice. Like I tried to talk, and he just grabbed me. My cousin grabs me and he's like, this is my cousin Joey. He's a guitar player and you're his idol. And he took picks and he put them in my hand. One of them I still have.
Oh,
and
nice.
It was really funny because my cousin had just got his driving permit that day, and it was like the only thing he had on him. And he pulls out, he's like, Eddie, can you sign my permit? You know, he was like, no autographs.
Awesome,
you know?
awesome.
So he was like, Eddie, you're the greatest keyboard player, you know, ever. And he turned around, he was like, what? And he just walked away. So that was like the great part of it, you know. I lost my voice. I couldn't even talk, you know. I was just like, I was so in awe. And just the fact that he was just rattling this stuff off, like, you know, and it was so cool because he was just like talking to us like, you know, we were one of them, you know. But the funny part, well, it wasn't funny, it was kind of sad. His breath just stunk of alcohol. Like it was so potent that he could have set like all of fucking Nassau County on fire, you know.
Right.
But that night, he did an interview for MTV, and the whole thing was about how he's, you know, playing sober now, you know, and he was like, oh man, it's so great to finally understand, you know, to remember what I'm playing. And he's like, it's so great to be sober. So it was like this bittersweet moment, you know. There was my hero, you know, and I got to meet him. He shook my hand and he was so cool. And I was like, but he was fucking wasted. You know?
He was so sweet. I mean, I saw firsthand, like that makes perfect sense to me that kids coming to the shows. I mean, if you look at any of the videos of Eddie, he would be so happy playing, and his smile was so infectious.
That was, you know,
it was incredible. He was so fucking incredible, and running around, the energy and just the joy that it brought him, because you know that he's sitting on an endless supply of. If you have a studio in your house and you've only put out, you know, the amount of records that they put out, you know that there's 50 billion other records.
Yeah.
And he was always experimenting. And
And yet we feel he left it all on the table.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
You know, I just, you know, my connection to Eddie, if you know, if I can say this, is, you know, my brother, he had two real heroes, Eddie and your Randy Rhoads. Like, I remember my brother just drawing after Randy Rhoads passed, like drew this incredible picture of Randy, and you know, my brother, because he's a guitar player, I never really understood that you know, connection of trying to figure out how Eddie would do what he would do. And you know, the first time my brother fucking meets Eddie is because Eddie just showed up at our house. So, you know, like that's you know, because of Steve Vai and that.
Yeah. And meanwhile, Steve Vai is there as well, by the way. Just, and hanging out, Frank Zappa, Steve Vai, Eddie Van Halen, just hanging out together.
Well, must be weird growing up a Friedberg, right, Ahmet? Strange.
For me,
so weird.
For me, that was you know, that was my normal, right? You know, I'm just like, there's just a studio at the bottom of the house, and I didn't think anything of it. I could feel the excitement and the energy, mostly because, you know, my brother, for me, he was my hero, right? My brother was my hero. He was 5 years older, and like, he turned me on to all the music that I love. And he was the person who introduced me to Van Halen, and we would listen to those records on fucking repeat, and he would explain to me what was going on. And so, you know, for him, the idea that in the basement, you know, just to be a fly on the wall, you know, where it's Steve, it's Eddie, and my dad just plugging in and fucking around, right? You know, that was crazy. That was pretty awesome. But it was, the point being is not that, like, you know, I feel blessed that I had that experience.
Right. Absolutely.
But I had no idea the relevance of that. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know,
they were just your dad's friends.
Yeah. It was kind of like what would just happen at her house. But the generosity that Edward had for my brother, knowing that Dweeb was such a fan, he didn't have to, but he had a real connection. He stayed in touch. I was fortunate enough to go with my brother to visit Eddie at a studio, and all of that. My brother never lost that absolute love and adoration for Edward. And I don't know if you guys got a chance to read, you know, the kind words that my brother wrote about Eddie. The second I learned that he passed, I immediately texted my brother and thinking of you today. And I mean, it's just fucking horrible. It just makes me think of, like, you know, how much time do we have for other heroes? You know, I'm like, you know, not to be morbid.
This was definitely a major, you know, blow to everybody. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, look, and this is the weird thing too. Is like, and this has nothing to do with Van Halen or anything we're talking about. But yesterday, a sports writer from Minnesota died. He was 100 years old, and he didn't quit until the day he died. You know, that's just how he was. And the joke was always, when I was a sports writer, he's going to outlive all of us. And you know, Sid died yesterday. You know, it's like, who's next? You know, how long is Keith going to hold around? We thought Lemmy would live forever.
Well, Keith will live forever.
Yeah, I don't think he's going anywhere.
He's immortal.
Nobody ever thought Lemmy was going to live forever.
Yeah,
they just thought he was going to be really fucking excited the whole time.
That's his meth dealer actually did.
right.
Actually, 401k. I hope that guy was fucking smart, man.
I have a theory that Keith is going to keep everybody alive forever, because they're going to keep just taking parts of his DNA and injecting it into everybody in the world, and everybody will live forever because of Keith Richards.
That'd be great. Next time we're on tour,
sign me up.
We fucking do a show Friday night, party our fucking asses off. We got another goddamn show, fucking sound check at 5, dude. Fuck this shit. Dude, don't worry, man. I got a doc. We're going to take an IV of Keith, and then we're going to be just fucking fine.
Yeah. You know what's really funny is that
I want those days to come.
Maybe they've perfected cloning and we don't know about it. And Keith was the freaking he was the first.
There was that story that was around in the 70s. I don't know, Keith said it as in an interview as a joke, right? That he'd like his blood had been recycled in Switzerland or something like that. There was like the story that, oh, how did you quit heroin? It's like, oh, they took all the blood out of my body and they put new blood in. So you just need that old heroin blood. You'll live forever.
Yeah, right,
Never.
right. Oh, here's
But like fucking art imitating life, imitating fucking art, go to fucking Vegas. Find a fucking doctor and get yourself a blood transfusion and you're going to feel fucking great.
Full dialysis. Love it. 24.
Exactly. Oh, here's a great line from the chat room. Steve Connolly says, "After we all die, it's up to Keith Richards and Betty White to repopulate."
That guy's a genius for acknowledging the fact that Betty White and Keith Richards have been in a committed relationship for many years at this point.
Yeah, right.
Thanks for bringing that up. Because the two of them
have hidden it so well, bro.
Yeah, beautiful couple. They're the same age. They're both immortal.
No, they're totally fucking right now.
100%. And then tap dancing, and then both playing the guitar.
Yep.
I wonder, out of the two of them, who gets the worst deal, him or her?
I don't think there is a bad deal. I mean, I think we can all agree that the Golden Girls is TV perfection, TV gold. All right. And every time Keith was on it, was my favorite episode, you know?
Dude, I remember that time when Keith he had a plumbing problem.
Yeah, the buffet scene, and Keith, the plumbing problem.
And fucking Maud was like, I'll fix your plumbing.
Oh, 100%.
Oh, thank you for being a friend.
The loser in that relationship's the dog that has to watch them have sex.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Not a loser because
he does one of those dog paw things where he puts his fucking arm over.
Ladies and gentlemen, for the first time in my life, I do not want to have sex on my birthday. Not that I was going to be able to, but I'm just saying now I don't even want to.
Why? Because you don't have a Betty White real doll and you're disappointed? Because your fans have sent it to you?
Cheating on me. She's cheating on me with Keith Richards.
It might have something to do with gazing at this cast of unseemly characters.
That could be as well. First half of the show brought to you by Beater Amplification. That's 2 E's, beateramplification.com. Hit them up on Facebook as well. These things are badass. 100% hand-wired, hand-built, 100 watts of testicular fortitude, 3 channels. And yes, the Izzy Presley TCB1 will be out soon. Beater Amplification.com. That's 2 E's. Also hit them up on Facebook and our good friends over at Mackie, MACKIE. If you guys want to get into home recording and get into podcasting, very affordable way with their studio bundles. Hit them up, Mackie, MACKIE. There we go. We should go back to Van Halen.
You think?
I'm ruined now.
We still got Golden Girls to talk about.
We could go back to Eddie's balls.
Yeah, we could. Well, Ahmet, if you want to keep talking about the Golden Girls, go ahead.
Okay, well, I'd love to. I mean, the scene where they were all hunted by a werewolf, that's my favorite episode. You know, I like how they really had their finger on the pulse of even politics. And
you know what was really scary about that show? Rika and I were watching it several weeks ago, and we're like, when they filmed that, I don't think they were supposed to be much older than we all are right now.
Yeah, dude.
No, is that
totally?
true?
Totally.
I think I don't
55-year-old broads don't look like that today.
I think they were only in there.
Hold on a second. Are you? I never thought about that. Are you trying to tell me that when I'm watching the Golden Girls, I thought they were all trying to be 80?
Yeah, I thought it was like a retirement.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, Sophia was 80, but she was the mom.
Yeah.
So the other ones had to be like 50.
I'm sorry. So Sophia, I'm sorry, I don't remember the character name. Like,
yeah, dude. Earlier when I said Maud, there was no character named Maud in the Golden Girls. None of you corrected me.
So hold on a minute. Rika said Sophia. That's why I knew
fucking
that.
Paul started throwing out names.
Rika just said Sophia, damn it. I repeated it.
Bullshit. Rika, you need to get a divorce right now. Right now. This is not cool. You cannot be married to someone who knows the actual names of the characters on fucking the Golden Girls. This is fucked up. Dude, you're heavy metal, Paul. What happened just
Well,
now?
I'm gonna go get my Golden Girls shirt. What the
Jesus.
Oh my God. Again, people in the chat room are just loving this. Oh my. Oh, this is going off the rails and I love it. Bruce from Canada. Hold on. Let me play this for him. Bruce.
Because all the listeners are from Canada.
I'm dying here. This is great. Sorry for the hijack. Bruce says took a hard left turn. She was mod before Golden Girls though, which is even more funny. This is and Bruce says this is why you're single.
Yeah, slow clap for Dawson.
Yeah.
I'll take that. I'll fucking take that shit, dude. Yes. Something from my childhood snuck through.
What was Maud's husband's name? I always forget what his name was.
Did you hear that?
Paul, what?
No, I'm sorry. That was Rika. She just said. She's Googling it. She's Googling it.
Was it Stanley? I figured
Stanley sounds right.
So, right? It was Walter.
Walter. That was it. Walter. Yeah.
Can we talk about Van Halen now?
I know what is happening. This is a very tonight on a very special episode.
Oh, hey, Ahmet, going back to your brother, didn't Eddie gave him the Rasta guitar, the one that he recorded Fair Warning with, the one that has like his vomit on it. So I saw a video of him showing it off, and that's a fucking cool piece of history. Eddie's fucking.
I think I think it was I don't know, maybe my brother has another one. I think
it might be a recent guitar that he acquired, but he does have it.
Because the one that it's not the Flying V, which is the one that kind of looks like it's kind of like an Iceman or something.
Yeah, the Destroyer. Ivan's Destroyer.
So
K-shaped recovery.
Yeah, it was something like that. If memory serves it, I remember it being like cream with some gold something, and I think my brother then like reshaped it or did something else to that guitar, if memory serves.
Wow.
But you know, I mean, it's
fucking cool, man.
Yeah, I mean, there is nothing cooler. I mean, to be my brother. And because my brother's in my opinion, one of the most, I know he's a celebrated guitar player, but
yeah, absolutely.
He can do kind of anything on a guitar, but I think he's the most underrated and doesn't get as much credit for being able to do extraordinary things on his instrument. But dude, this is like, I get overly emotional for him. And for everyone, and certainly for Wolfgang, because I know what it's like to lose a parent, both parents.
Yeah.
And the fact that I immediately start thinking about how wonderful that is to be able to, and my brother had that experience. He would play with my dad on stage, right?
Yeah.
But Wolfgang being able to go out on tour as you know, with his uncle and his dad. And my heart really goes out to that entire family, because there are
America's uncle, Michael Anthony.
Yeah,
absolutely. Ahmet, two quick questions here. One, when Eddie and Steve were there with your dad, were they jamming? Did they record anything? Or was it just fucking around? Do you know anything about that?
Yeah. Look, I don't know of any recordings, but there could be. You know, I mean, there was always tape rolling. Yeah. I'm still on the hunt for the time that Frank and Jimmy were jamming in the garden, and I know that they were recording.
Shit.
And Jimmy actually split his pants, and my mother, I think, sewed up Jimmy's pants while they were still on him with his man hammer. I don't know if Jimmy could also play the guitar with his man hammer. But it's a possibility. So I've heard for so many years that there is this tape of Frank and Jimmy jamming. But you know what? I will try to get that answer from Steve, because Steve would probably remember.
Yeah.
Well, he's in the club.
Yeah.
He's in the club.
So.
And the other point I wanted to bring up too is, because you have this, obviously, you're going through all the music. Wolfgang also has that responsibility now too.
Well, you were talking about this earlier. The fact that Patty was going up there and they're playing around with songs, they were probably recording that stuff, and you would know, Greg, right? I don't know if in the conversations, if Ted, if that's the time that you're talking about, if Ted was still in the scene with Patty showing up, you know, maybe there is a recollection. Maybe there are these tapes. I mean, I hope that we get to hear other expressions. Because from what little I know, you know, I think Edward was very much devoted to the band and the experience with his brother. And I don't know if the other experimental stuff that he was doing was flexing or you know, scratching that other itch that he had to get it out, you know, and who knows if it was ever even intended to be released. Who knows? But
they always hit record, dude. They had to always hit record. They had to always hit record.
There has been nothing put out by this band. I think in the last 2 decades, we've had 3 albums.
It's there.
2.5 years, we've had 3 albums, and they were each from a different singer. There's no way Eddie hasn't done anything else in the last 25 years.
Right. Well, look,
no way there isn't stuff sitting around.
Yeah, one of my engineer friends, that I work with, I do a lot of sessions for. He's been working with Eddie for years, and he said the tape was always rolling, whatever they did. You know.
Yeah.
So there's tons of stuff.
You know, one interesting conversation I had with Don. Sorry, I didn't mean to step on you. The was that Don was mentioning when I asked him about the, you know, when Dave was leaving and what was going on with that, there was sort of this, you know, Neverland period where Dave wasn't showing up anymore. He had left, yet there was still, Ed was still wondering whether he was going to come back. And at that point, this would have been like in early summer of '85, there was Don particularly was of the opinion that he wanted Ed to do a solo record. He said there was a lot of stuff that probably would have been suitable, you know, stuff like the wildlife stuff and stuff kind of in that realm of like instrumental stuff, keyboard stuff that wasn't necessarily going to fit in a record. Now, some of that apparently got cannibalized for 5150 and onward. But it's funny. One of the things that Don said to me that I thought really was interesting, he said, yeah, then of course they, you know, he wanted Sammy or wanted a singer and they went towards that. And he said, but the thing I was actually a little bit ticked off about is that I really wanted Ed to reserve the title 5150 for a solo record, but they wanted to make it for the album. It was like, you know, he's like, it's the studio. It was like Don said, you know, obviously he and Ed were close. And that was, I guess, something he was kind of privately like say, don't give away that should be for if you ever do a record, it should be called 5150, like your studio. And that, you know, that never happened. But he said there was a period of time where it looked like that seemed to be the direction it was going, that Ed was going to do a record. I mean, I think we all know this, like Pete Townsend and all these people were going to jump in, but that Don was basically saying there was music that really wasn't well suited for a Van Halen record that would have ended up on something, which never happened.
On that, do you think there's a possibility there's enough Eddie Van Halen compositions out there that they could do a kind of tribute record where lyrics could be written and songs could be arranged based on the shit that he has?
That would be cool.
And then all those people who wanted to fucking sing for Van Halen,
I'd buy that record,
could be on a 16-song record.
Very interesting, yeah.
Well, look, so when Craig Gass is on the show, obviously I got him to tell that story he's been telling everywhere, which is a gold story from when he actually lived at the fucking studios at 5150. But he said on the show that there was a complete Lukather Eddie Van Halen record that was done, which is basically their Dark Side of the Moon. And Trunk asked him about that when Lukather was on with him last week, and he denied it. He's like, yeah, we just, you know, collaborated on a couple things. But I don't know. Who knows? Maybe they don't want that information out there, and Luke is just kind of, you know, covering it up for now. I mean, who knows? I don't know.
Why would I think most musicians are pretty, I mean, from what little experience I know, why would they lie about that? You know,
I don't know, but this isn't any musician. This is Van Halen we're talking about.
They've always
they've been exactly. Here, let's do this. Let's take a 2-minute break and we'll come back and we will get into the conversation of because I know Ahmet, you got to bounce pretty soon, and then Michael Starr from Steel Panther will be joining us at 7:00. Perfect time to get in this conversation, and then Andre can start paying attention again.
Wait, what? What?
When are you gonna unmute Geoff?
When he's not at the
red
bar. When he's not at the bar. I like this. He's like our dancing monkey boy down there, just sitting there with the red cup. It's beautiful.
It's all really a good thing.
All right. It's another fucking podcast. We'll be back in 2 minutes and 2 seconds.
RockstarLeatherworks.com is your home for badass rock and roll gear. Featuring 100% handmade leather bands, watches, cuffs, bracelets, and more, Rockstar Leatherworks has something for everybody. Whether you are going to the show or you are in it, you can find something to fit your needs. Choose from a variety of designs or create your own masterpiece. Their bands and watches are second to none. They also ship internationally. Who needs a stage to be a rock star? Check out RockstarLeatherworks.com.
Hey ladies, Sass Pants Designs will take that band shirt that everyone has and make it your own in a flattering, sassy, and simple way. There are one-of-a-kind tank tops, halter tops, lace-up tees, and tube-top dresses already in stock. Check out the online store at sasspantsrocks.com and like Sass Pants Designs on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for special offers and custom orders. Use the code IZZY25 for 25% off of your entire order at sasspantsrocks.com. That's sasspantsrocks.com. Let Sass Pants make you the envy of the party.
Rockwood Saloon Authentic Apparel takes rock and roll fashion to a new level with their tees and tanks for men and women. They also make custom shirts, jackets, vests, pants, hoodies, beanies, and more. The Rockwood Graphics Department can design anything from your logo, t-shirt design, promo posters, band swag, and printed at great prices. From tour shirts and custom stage gear to killer threads for the street to the stage, Rockwood Saloon has it all. Rockwood Saloon, authentic rock and roll apparel for stage and street. World tour tested for quality, comfort, style, and durability. Check them out at www.rockwoodsaloon.com. That's rockwoodsaloon.com.
Hey, what's going on? This is Tom Arnold. I like fat women and cocaine. And you're listening to Izzy Presley here on another fucking podcast. And I know Izzy from Cocaine Anonymous meetings. I've actually seen him at the meetings with Ace Von Johnson from, I probably shouldn't say this out loud, but Ace has got a bad coke problem. And his sponsor is Josh Todd from, and again, I shouldn't say this out loud, but Josh is his sponsor for Buck Cherry. He's addicted to upskirt porn. And they're both being sponsored by the Eagles. The whole band, the Eagles. Anyways, another fucking podcast right here with Izzy Presley. And call your sponsor. Fucking A.
Second after the show, brought to you by A&P Productions Laser Engraving. Christmas is coming up. What the fuck? Why not buy your loved one something special and laser engraved from AMPlaser.com. Also get yourself on another fucking podcast, Roadie Packs. That is a nice coffee tumbler, a flask. It's a dog tag and a Zippo type letter. Hit them up, aplasers.com. And our good friend John Palumbo. We love us some John Palumbo. If you have a band, you have a business, you need a logo done, you need a website done, hit up our good friend John Palumbo, johnpalumbodesign.com. Ahmet, before we move forward, something I did want to ask you about too, that did you get the email that I sent you with the nutcrackers?
I think you mentioned it, but I don't think that I have.
Okay, check it
out.
out.
You and I don't.
No. It's all good. It's all good because my good friend Tony, he makes these nutcrackers and he just gives them away to people, and it's always of like their favorite artists. And he made 2 of them of your dad, and he said if you liked it, and
awesome,
he'd save one for you if you did want it. So, but yeah,
that's so sweet.
Yeah, look back in your email, dude. They're fucking amazing.
I will check it out. So I'm sure I'm gonna love it, but I'm gonna raise another glass to the birthday boy. I've switched now to tequila. A very large pour, guys. Time to do some more shots in celebration of the host with the most. Izzy. Like, I can't believe you had me back on your fucking show because I was such a dick last time. But I love you to pieces, man.
Happy birthday, brother.
Thanks, man.
Happy birthday.
Ahmet, I'm going to say this. I am very disappointed. Oh, shit. He's unmuted. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Geoff. I'm very disappointed that it took us this long to meet because I think we are kindred spirits. I think
brothers from another mother.
Exactly. Cheers.
By the way, I'm drinking my
cheers, eh?
My Sammy Hagar rum tonight.
Ah, nice.
It was given to me by Sammy Hagar.
Awesome.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Yeah.
Sammy makes a good tequila. Don't fucking.
Oh, yeah.
The rum is
sell
pretty
yourself
bad.
short on that shit.
You know what? I didn't mention this before. Eddie gave me this shirt that same night. On my way out of the dressing room, he gave me this shirt. How
The
crazy!
same night you saw his balls.
Same. Yeah.
Is that before or after you memorized every script from the Golden Girls?
in the whole process.
Same process. Yeah. So I thought you were going to tell us that your sister, after seeing Eddie and his masterpiece, that maybe your sister and Eddie kind of had
their own eruption.
Sorry, guys.
Their
I
own
gotta jump in.
eruption? No, it didn't happen.
While we're doing fucking show and tell.
Her cradle did not rock.
Oh shit. Okay.
Uh-oh.
I have bottle number 79 of 100 of Michael Anthony's hot sauce.
Nice. Very nice.
Never been opened. It's totally fucking rotten by now.
No, wait,
I will
Mike.
never fucking open it.
Mike, you owe it to us because Eddie got
Let's
to open it and
come
drink
over
it.
for some chicken.
No, Mike,
I'll fucking marinate it in this
pussy.
shit.
Don't bring it out and then be like, I can't open it now. No, you do a shot of that hot sauce right.
The hot sauce for his
now.
birthday.
I'll tell you
All
this:
that.
it's probably
All
not
that.
going to be worth any money.
There's
or
no way
anything.
I'm opening this.
No,
There's
Mike,
no way in fucking
Mike,
hell I'm opening
fuck
this.
you, bro.
There's
Anyone listening to
absolutely
the podcast
zero
right
chance
now,
in fucking
Mike,
hell.
you're supposed to be a real man, okay? Paul admitted that the Golden Girls is his everything, and right now you're shooting the bed so hard for every
Second to the love boat, but come on.
Fuck you, bro. Fuck you, Mike. Drink the hot sauce. Drink it. Fuck you, bro. Eddie wants you to drink the hot sauce. If you don't,
I'm gonna hold it right here
don't,
for
we
you.
all blame you for
Just
what
gonna
happened
hold
to Eddie. Drink it.
Oh,
I'm gonna lean into it. Just let
Yeah.
you know it's here.
Talking to you.
we didn't tell you to cuddle with it.
So nice. I'm just gonna cuddle with it.
He's like, I can't drink it because it feels so good when I sit on it.
Yeah, right. All right. So this has been this is going to be the ultimate Sam versus Dave discussion. And I know, and I got to turn my headphones up a little bit so everybody can hear this, just so I don't have to do the voice. Usually a lot of Dave apologist wonks. This is what they sound like. Hold on. Come on. Play. Come on. Come on. Where is it?
Come on, Mackie.
This is what they sound like when we talk about Sammy and how good the Sammy records were and how good Sammy was in Van Halen.
What did you do to that kid, man?
That was his last.
No, it's a video I found of hours worth of babies crying. Anyways,
Was that Tinder gone wrong?
Tinder gone.
I don't get it. And I say to all those mamby-pamby Van Halen complainers,
Right.
you know, that are like in the Van Hagar or Van Halen camp. You know, I think that we all know after Eddie's passing, except for the Gary Sharon record, we all know that after Eddie's passing, that there is no camp. You have to love it all. Except for the Gary
Right.
You know, back in the day, there used to be a soul act called Sam and Dave. Let's just carry our love and respect for them
Exactly.
and apply it to the Vans.
And there's a lot of people that they only like the Dave record because it's Dave. And it's like, dude, I don't care what anybody says. You can say Dave is Van Halen all you want. No, Van Halen is Eddie and Alex. Without either one of those two, it's not fucking Van Halen. And that Van Halen record was 5150. It was not even Smile, as good as it was. Now, personally, I like 5150. If you look at 5150, top to bottom, the songs are better. The Dave record is phenomenal. I'm not shitting on the Dave record. 3 covers, and then you got Going Crazy and fucking Yankee Rose.
Okay. I hear what you're saying. Yes, sure, certainly. But also what we're dealing with when it comes to 5150 and fucking Eat 'em and Smile, your one record is Dave.
Yeah.
And then one record is the band. hence the names, fucking David Lee Roth, Van Halen.
Right.
But I'm going to posit this to you. If I stand on the side of the street and just tell somebody, when will this be love? Am I going to get the same reaction if I walk out on the sidewalk and I say, well, let me roll out onto the sidewalk and take a look?
That is
now the people who hear
I think the big difference is what Van Halen became, and I think that's where people have the issue. Dave put together the best band he could put together to be Van Halen without Eddie and Alex and Michael Anthony. And he got Steve, and he got Bissonette, and he just got Billy Sheehan. He put a fucking amazing band together to put out the Van Halen record that Dave wanted to put out when Eddie went keyboards. And the reality is, Eddie took Van Halen in a different direction that, quite frankly, was more successful than the Dave version. It climbed new heights than the Dave version. It is just as fucking good. I personally think it's even better because they went to that mainstream level. And that's not taking anything away from David Lee Roth Van Halen, because I worship David Lee Roth.
Yeah.
However, with Sammy Hagar, that band ascended new heights. Period.
Exactly, because Eddie finally got somebody.
Four-dimensional bands instead of two-dimensional band.
And I think too, you know, Dave got to hear some of that music early on. You know, so he almost had an advantage, saying like, okay, I know where these guys are going. I'm gonna go straight in diehard classic Van Halen fans and give them balls to the wall. Fucking, you know, as high octane as I could.
But he also still went Dave because he did Ladies in Buffalo, and it was just he also still went, you know, I'm going lounge eventually, and here's the first taste of it. I mean, he had that.
Which is really weird if we're trying to say that the big kerfuffle with Van Halen was keyboards, right? Mm-hmm. From the guy who gave us sensible shoes, right?
Well, here's the thing.
Just like Paradise.
I went to both tours. I went to the 5150 tour. I went to the Human Smile tour. Van Halen played 3 songs with keyboards. On the Eat 'Em and Smile tour, Dave had a keyboard player, dedicated keyboard player, and they put keyboards on every song.
Yeah.
They put it fucking on Fire, on Panama, on freaking
Really?
On some. So it was like, it was more keyboard heavy than what Van Halen was doing, which I thought was so funny because people were ripping on these guys.
Hold on really quick. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show, Michael Starr from Steel Panther, the man who played bass in the new Del Taco commercial.
Fuck yeah.
I'm actually renaming myself right now. Can you hear me?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, cool.
All right, cool.
Are you renaming yourself to somehow be associated with more deeply interwoven with Del Taco? Are we gonna?
Yeah.
Are you gonna be
right now? I am willing to do whatever it takes right now.
Hey, should we switch? Should we all switch our names to Golden Girls characters? Is there enough of us?
I can't help you out there. I can't help
we
you out
can
there,
find
Paul.
out who they are.
Paul, can you help us?
I swear to God, I only knew Sophia because Rika said it. I swear to God.
So Michael, you know, I don't know if you heard this, but I just want to make this quick point, which was, you know, most people talk about this, that the argument is over keyboards between, like, you know, Dave playing different instruments or creating different sounds, and that's like why Dave was like, I'm out of here. But I just don't buy it. And I have to say, when I first heard 5150, I was immediately, it was hard to lose Diamond Dave. Let me just make that abundantly clear, because who the fuck is cooler than Diamond Dave? Nobody, still to this day. Right. But you know, when I heard Sammy singing, and knowing his music prior to that, and being like, wow, that now he's with Van Halen, whatever that helicopter weirdo noise that first came on the fucking radio. I remember so vividly it being in our kitchen, hearing that song and immediately going fucking bananas for it. And I was like, wow, this is so fucking different and fucking cool. And I was open-minded about it. And I fucking loved it. And then Dave gave us Dave, it's a very different animal, because Dave is a visual like showman unlike any other. So so to me, the argument is more about, are you down for the Dave show or not? And I kind of feel like the real argument between the band was the Diamond Dave show, like going into these other directions that were not necessarily music.
Well, and I just want to make one quick point is that the thing that's really interesting about the Eat 'em and Smile, the whole process is like, if anyone wanted to know, like whatever the war between Ed and Dave was about the direction of the band, that's Dave's vision all the way. I mean, whatever, Ted Templeman, those other guys contributed, obviously, but that was like, that's Pete Angelis, it's Dave. Like all those other guys are like kind of contributing, but it's like, here's what Dave wanted all the way through, like the whole tour, the album, the whole thing, you know. It's interesting to think about. That's really what Dave wanted, obviously.
Right.
Well, I saw both tours. 5150 and the Eat 'em and Smile tour. And I also saw Dave and Sammy touring together when they played, I think it was San Bernardino. Actually, I did go backstage for that and did get to meet Sammy and Michael Anthony. Very sweet, very nice guys.
They're awesome.
Super nice guys. Did not get to meet Dave. But what, getting back to the 5150 Eat 'em and Smile comparison, I think that, my takeaway was that, Dave's show was more like a Vegas review, whereas Van Halen was always a band.
It's true.
Van Halen was always a band. And I don't know, as great as Dave's band was, the DLR band, I don't think they were really a band. It was really Dave's solo project. And those guys, don't get me wrong, Steve Vai and Billy Sheehan and Greg Bissonette, amazing players. But I don't think that they were ever, I don't know that there was ever a real camaraderie between them like there always was with Van Halen. And
especially on 5150, I think if you saw that tour, there was probably, I've seen everybody and I've never seen that much love between four guys on stage. It was fucking real.
Real chemistry. Real chemistry.
Think about Dave. Sorry, not Dave. Think about Eddie. And you have the band split up. So there's clearly beef. There's obviously problems, right? But then, I think if you're Eddie, people might assume that he's like, I don't want to have anything to do with Diamond Dave's band and, what they're all about. And that's just not the case, because he actually became really good friends with Steve Vai.
Yeah.
So there was this understanding of what it was like to be in a band with Diamond Dave. And that is a level of openness, right? And awareness that Edward would have. It was always about the music. And, I think it speaks volumes to what a unbelievable, compassionate human being Edward was, and
absolutely
why I'm fucking pissed that he passed.
I also think there was just, and I got pretty close. I got very close with Dave in that solo era. I wrote the back cover of his book. I hung out with him a lot in New York.
You were in the Mojo Dojo?
He was at, I can't even remember the name of the place. There was this illegal karaoke bar that we used to go to. But I went to a party and he introduced me to JFK Jr. Because he's like, Paul works for this rock magazine. He's starting this new thing called George. You guys should get to know each other. And I was just like Dave, I went through like a good phase with Dave.
Well,
and another thing,
he's a fucking Shotokan like ninja EMT.
Right.
I mean, like, he's so the craziest.
The crazy thing is, I think what really started to happen, and if you look at and I worship David Lee Roth. His solo records, he always was pushing in a direction where that's just not what Eddie wanted, and that wasn't where Eddie was going. I think they were just going in different directions. Dave had Travis Tritt on a song before anybody was even thinking about being country. He does a duet with Travis Tritt. He did that Skyscraper record, just sonically went in a completely different direction than Eat 'em Smile went in. He was experimenting and he was going in that different direction. And I think Eddie was all about, let's write great songs. And Dave wasn't a singer to take those great songs to the next level. He just wasn't there anymore. And
Dawson, go ahead, Dawson.
An interesting take on that might be, remember how when Queen disbanded And Freddie Mercury was up to his own devices and had the cream of the crop of musicians who did everything he said every time he wanted to. I think it personally speaks to the fucking genius of hashtag DLR to be able to take all of this immense fucking talent around you and put out something that is representative of the talent that was in that room.
Yeah, I agree.
That shit ain't fucking easy.
Yankee Rose is not better than any song off of 5150. And I love
also in Playa del Rey, in like 1999, I did a line of coke off of David Lee Roth's old couch.
I thought you were going to say penis, and I was going to be like,
the part had this fucking thing that went down, and it goes down as a fucking mirror.
Oh, they're cool.
Now, I don't know if it's true. But I was told this was David Lee Roth's couch.
Just really quick, jumping to the chat room for a second. Lori Nickel from Australia says, "Red Cup, drink up." I mean, why not? We can't hear him anyways. Michael, let me ask you this. I mean, because obviously you've delved into the Van Halen world a little bit. A little bit. And obviously more into the Dave era. I mean, what are your thoughts on the Sammy era?
Well, let's just say this first of all. All right. So Van Halen was the best band ever, in my opinion. And then when they split up, they had two bands that were really great, but they weren't Van Halen. So Dave was all by himself with three guys that he hired, and Sammy got the gold. He got the golden ticket, man. He got to sing for the best band in the world, and just Eddie brought him songs, and he got to write whatever he wanted over him. It was just so for me, like when Dave and Van Halen split up, I was young enough to be upset and really bummed. Like it shattered my whole world. Like, oh my God, Van Halen's breaking up. It's the end of everything.
But Michael, you don't think the melodies of the vocals, because I'm like, I listened for vocals first and guitars second. You know what I mean? That, like, for me as a singer myself, and like I was always interested in the voice, and there is no one cooler than the stage performance and you know, Diamond Dave's vocals. But Sammy is an incredible singer, and his melodies and what he was able to do partnered with, you know, the Van Halen brothers. And I got to say, Alex most people don't give him enough credit for his extraordinary sound. You can, he's an unbelievable drummer, and it's undeniable. You can hear him just hit the snare once. You're like, that's fucking Alex. You know, but I go back, and certainly over now listening to everything after Eddie's passed, it's just been on repeat. You know, I listened to all of it with new ears, and you know, the guitar, like, if you can't, Ace Frehley is the sound of Kiss. Okay. Eddie is the sound of Van Halen. So whoever the singer is, in my opinion, and whatever those grooves are, the way those brothers fucking lock in, you know, it carries their last name, and it's fucking awesome. And I don't know, I disagree a little bit. I fully understand. I can contextualize everything. I know the pain I went through when mommy and daddy split up. Right? Like, I totally get it. But I look back at it, and I'm like, it's extraordinary of you know what Eddie and Alex did with Diamond Dave and with Sammy, and with Gary. Even
you're talking about two great bands, right?
Right, exactly.
Bottom line, I mean, you're talking about Eat 'Em and Smile's completely different animal than Van Halen ever was, and then Van Halen 5150 is just more Van Halen with a different singer, but it's great.
But I feel like what you're talking about is like Jefferson Airplane with Jefferson Starship, then into Starship, which feels like this. We don't want to do what you're doing.
Let's just remember this. Let's remember this. When you change the voice of the band, it changes the band.
For sure.
There's no way around that.
Absolutely. I mean, look at Black Sabbath with Dio. It sounded nothing like Ozzy's Sabbath.
Well, my two favorite Sabbath records are Mob Rules. There, I said it.
Van Halen is two bands. And if we subscribe to what Ahmet said, then the greatest song of all time is Bad Company by Bad Company from the album Bad Company.
Yes.
All right. So Van Halen won.
I agree with you, Mike Dawson. I agree.
You know, the thing too.
This is such a tough thing to talk about because
It is.
we all love Van Halen
Right.
all the way through, right? So
Right, absolutely.
you know,
Well, except for Van Halen 3.
What's that?
Except for Van Halen 3.
Well, you know, that was an experiment and whatever, you know, but it's really tough, you know. When this happened to me in high school, it was devastating. So I naturally wanted to go like I did with grunge when it came out. I was like, oh, I can't stand grunge. It's killing heavy metal, right?
Yep.
And same with Van Halen. Sammy Hagar's killing Van Halen. But you know what? After a while, after growing and living, you look back and you listen to that music. It's amazing. All the
I
way
think the
through.
bigger complaints between the Diamond Dave era and the Sammy era was more Sammy's pants than anything. Like that dude rocked Jimmy Z's.
That's honestly,
sweatpants.
that's my favorite Van
Like-
Halen cover band, Sammy's Pants. Of all of them.
Yeah,
I mean,
Sammy's
the Atomic Punks are cool.
It's like he wore like Everlast. He wore MC Hammer pants every night. And you're just like, what the fuck is going on, bro?
5150.
Like
they did a whole tour in their pajamas.
Well, yeah, fucking Ed was wearing
Yeah.
his mom's fucking
Mm-hmm.
curtains.
It's the best thing to wear when you're getting hammered.
You know what was funny? I mean, for me, I was 13 that summer, 1986, and it was like probably the most important time for me as a guitar player. And just, you know, Eddie was everything to me. And I went to, and that was the first time I got to see them. It was on the 5150 tour, and I was just like smitten. It was like, you know, just seeing like the most beautiful girl in the world or whatever, you know, just right in front of me for the first time.
Yeah.
And about a week later, MTV had this special called Van Halen Unleashed, and where these guys just like were like, fuck you, Dave, and all this stuff, you know, and they were just so pro what they were doing that as a 13-year-old kid, I was like, yeah, man, fuck you, Dave, like fuck this shit, you know. And then Eat 'Em and Smile came out, you know, or Yankee Rose comes out like that week, and I watched this video. And there was so much like attitude and like I remember seeing Steve Vai for the first time and I was like, you motherfucker, like how dare you like talk with the guitar, like it was so arrogant to me, and I was so like on Team Eddie, you know, that I was just like this.
Okay, Joe, imagine, because he was playing with my dad before. Okay, so I like was super conflicted.
Right.
I'm like, where did Uncle
Right.
Steve
Well, wait.
go? You know,
Wait, so
like what?
I tell you,
It's
like,
really fucking hard to deal with.
How
bro.
it happened for me, you know, because eventually I did a 180, but I mean, then like a couple of weeks later, Dave put, you know, MTV put out like the Dave special and he tells his side of the story. And I'm like, okay, but no, fuck you, man. No. I was like, I'm with Eddie. And
The midgets got you,
yeah,
bro. The midgets
and
got you.
I got a copy of Eat 'Em and Smile. My dad bought it for me and I refused to listen to it. I was like, no. I was like, bring that shit back. And what I did was like, I was like dropping the needle on probably the worst songs that I could, you know, actually even pick. You know, I would put on like, you know, I'm Easy. I'm like, what the fuck is this? He's back to his Sinatra shit, you know? And then I put on like, you know, That's Life. And I was like, oh, fuck this guy, you know? And then I wound up going to see them. And in that time before I went to see them, I started to learn about Steve Vai, and I was like, okay, he's from my hometown. And I bought Flexible because I felt bad for him. Like this picture on the album cover, he looked really sad. So I was like, I'll give him a shot. And I did the same thing. And I put the needle on all the wrong fucking songs. You know, I was like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? And then I went to go see them live, and my life changed. And it wasn't because of Dave. It was because of Steve. And everything after that became very different for me. And Steve Vai became like the most influential musician to me, you know, at that point. And I actually have a guitar that was supposed to be on the Eat 'Em and Smile tour that his buddy made for him. And
an Ibanez or just some
no
rando?
No, Steve, his best friend was this guy, Joe DeSpagni.
Is it a heart? Is it one of the three neck?
I'm gonna
hearts,
show it to you, man.
But
Wait,
one of the next is a mandolin or something.
Fuck you, bro.
Yeah,
I beat you.
Hey, I
Beat
got
you,
the
dude.
Sammy rum. I
got bottle 79 100 hot sauce.
But you're not drinking
from
it.
Michael Anthony, and I'm not gonna fucking drink it.
Not talk about it.
And you saw Eddie's balls.
I'll tell you what, if all you motherfuckers want to come over for a barbecue, I'll make some motherfucking chicken.
So they were rehearsing, I guess, in Pasadena for the Eat 'em and Smile tour, and a bunch of Steve Vai's guitars got stolen. And this guy Joe, who lived in my neighborhood, he made like that flame guitar for Steve that was going crazy. Yeah. He made the green guitar with all the holes in it that they called like the Swiss cheese guitar. So anyway, so Joe made some guitars for him to take on the road, and one of them was like a replacement for that green one with the holes in it. And somehow I met him, and this was like after I became like obsessed with Steve Vai, and I bought one of the guitars that was supposed to be on. And this is it. This was like the Swiss cheese guitar, but without the holes in it.
Wow. That's awesome.
I've seen that. You brought that
That's
sound check
awesome.
once.
Well, the name of Joe's company was Gem. So Steve named his Ibanez Gem after his buddy, and his buddy just passed away and everything. But yeah, so I got to hang with Steve, and I showed him the guitar, and I was like, dude, this was supposed to be your guitar for the Eat 'em and Smile tour. And I was going on about it, and he's like, wait a second. That was supposed to be for me. I was like, yeah, but I bought it from him. He goes, give me my fucking guitar, man. So
wait, did you change any of it? Looks like you have like a Floyd Rose on the.
Yeah, no, it came that this is exactly how the guitar was. And if you look at the Swiss cheese guitars, the same thing, but
what are the same the color, white colored pickups and everything, or what are those?
He had a black pickup, but it was the same pickup. And yeah, so this is the guitar. And I had him sign it and stuff, but but that night like changed my fucking life. I mean, it was going to see that show. Like I said, people were fucking with Van Halen about the keyboards. They had keys in every song. You would hear it on freaking Ain't Talking About Love and On Fire and stuff. Yeah. And I was like, wait a second, they're bagging on Van Halen. I was like, listen to this. It was more like a circus. It was like the greatest show on earth.
Can't we also though admit that sometimes fans aren't really the most intelligent when it comes to their arguments at times? I mean, in the internet, everybody knows everything. Everybody's Dr. Google, and they know everything about everything, and everyone's smarter than all the experts. Back then, we knew nothing, and we were just as opinionated as we are now. And at least now we have Google to tell us half-truths. Back then, it was it's all keyboards. Da-da-da-da-da.
I've often said
one city until you saw a review on Microfiche somewhere, because there was no.
I've often said that I would be
a Microfiche reference.
Like that.
Nice.
I'd be the greatest,
redeem yourself, Paul.
Greatest radio programmer in the world if it wasn't for the listeners.
Right. But like MTV did it. MTV was sort of like our internet back then. They like the Van Halen Unleashed thing. It made me. I was 13 years old, so I was so impressionable. It was like, fuck you, Dave, and then the Dave thing came on.
That did exactly. We all have our opinions. They're not based in anything. They're not based in facts.
Right.
The closest person to there was Ahmet, because he had all these people in his house. But it's like, as fans, we didn't know. We were just, we were basing this on what we read in Hit Parade or Metal Edge at the time.
Right, exactly.
Right.
Or Kerrang. Let's come on. Or Kerrang.
Or Circus.
Thank you, Mike.
I would never think that there was a world where Steve Vai and Edward Van Halen would hang out. To me, they were like, fucking.
I know that was the point that I was trying to make.
Yeah.
And you hear, and Steve has eloquently talked about it since Eddie's passing. But the thing about musicians, when you make that choice and music is your life, you guys have this and guitar players have this shared language and ability. And there's I'm not a guitar player, and I do mourn Eddie's loss, because like who was as inventive, truthfully, than him. And he means so much. And you think about other musicians who we've lost, which are equally as devastating. It's never good to lose anybody, but Eddie, around the world, look who's come out of the woodwork to acknowledge people that aren't necessarily guitar players, but people that just he made such a huge impact in both iterations of the band. You know, I should say 3 iterations, but I don't. You know, it's just such a bummer. But I lean on, I think 5150, and I know what you were talking about earlier, Izzy. You know, 5150 to me is a better record, and I hate to even choose between the two because I'm a big Diamond Dave fan. But if I'm really thinking about it, I've listened, in all honesty, to the 5150 record, you know, 100 times more than I ever listened to.
Absolutely.
You know, Eat 'Em and Smile. And so to me it was, you know, but I can appreciate both. And I actually find more to like about the Eat 'Em and Smile record, other than, you know, just the hits off of that.
You know, I think with 5150, there's such, the love exudes out of the speakers of it. You know, like, Why Can't This Be Love? I'm not going to say it's my favorite song of all time, but I think
I love it.
There's not, love it. Well, I don't think there's a song in creation that makes me more happy when I hear it. When I hear it, everything stops to me. It's like hearing it for the first time to me. And yeah, I mean, it's that powerful. You know what I mean? It's that powerful. Just you can hear them. You can just hear them, just like that connection between those guys come out.
Absolutely.
Kind of along that vibe, Joe, is that, you know, if you put these albums in a time capsule, I'd listen to Eat 'Em and Smile for the first time today since it came out.
Right.
Honestly. And that record was made in that time, and it exists there. Yes, certain things on that album bleed through, and you feel, okay, if I heard this 2 weeks ago, I'd be like, all right, dude, there's a new song. But if you wake up from a coma or horrible example, but 5150
sounds bad.
Every song lives, breathes, continues, stands the test of time. You could bury that album in a box for 50 years, dig it up again and play it and go, I like this shit.
Yeah.
And this is not a dig on Diamond Dave. Eat 'Em and Smile. He really embraced being a music video artist.
Oh,
and
God,
I like the music.
Absolutely.
So that's why when I was mentioning, I mean, I shouldn't use the word midget, but
no, please do.
No, but I mean, you know, I don't know what the proper way to say that is, and I mean no disrespect to.
No, I know.
To people that are vertically challenged, but
midgets.
People, I don't know what are we
but
supposed
no,
to
but my point being is that was like the like exploitive excess kind of moment in time, and Van Halen never did that. It was more about the music and what they were expressing in the music, and not about being taking advantage of the power of MTV. Although,
well, dude,
even put out
it's
videos.
all Dave TV.
Yeah,
that was the fucking mantra.
Yeah,
for
you have to remember
Dave
this
TV.
too. You have to remember this. I think I'm maybe older than you, but I mean, Van Halen was my first love for like a band.
Yeah.
I mean, I like loved Led Zeppelin, and I had posters of Zeppelin on my walls. But when Van Halen came out, I took Zeppelin down and put Van Halen in.
Yeah.
So like, you know, for Joe, 5150 was his Van Halen. You know,
not really. Not really.
Sounded like.
But you know, I grew with them, I guess you could say. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, nothing beats the first 6 albums are God to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude, same here. Like I saw him do the tour for Fair Warning, and I got to go to when I went to the US Festival and saw him at the US Festival.
Right.
And I don't say that. I say that because it was the most exciting thing I've ever done in my life. You know, seeing all the bands on that bill, right?
Yeah, right.
But it's like that just made me like just turn into the hugest Van Halen freak.
Right.
And
I was. Look, hold on. This is very important because Michael is actually in a fucking band where they still get to see titties when they play. So bless you.
Cheers. Congrats.
I missed that.
A lot of A lot of people talk
Come-
about
Like it's been 9
You
months. I
spoke
have a
to a Robin
statistic.
Thicke show.
a lot of people talk about how they saw Steel Panther at the Whiskey or maybe the Hard Rock or something like that. But you really haven't lived until you saw Steel Panther at baggage claim at Burbank.
Wait, hold on a second. So Mike,
Then you fucking
Yeah,
seen
dude.
these
Still carrying the shit, too.
Yeah,
Like
Everybody else.
there should be a dictionary, the rock and roll dictionary, and you open up the definition of rock and roll, and it's fucking Steel Panther baggage claim at 8 a.m. Fucking rock and roll.
solid.
Burbank Airport. Come on.
Thank Burbank.
Mr. Starr, were you also, forgive my ignorance, and I mean, no,
please,
no disrespect here,
None
but were you also in the Atomic Punks too, or no? Did you play with those guys?
Yeah, yeah. The drummer and I and the guitar player started that band in 1994.
Because I would go, to the David Lee Roth tip, I was like, well, if you want to feel the power of what it was like when David was in the band, we would go see you guys at the Viper Room. So I've seen, when you guys were playing at the Viper Room, playing around town in LA as Atomic Pumps. No, Punk.
The
But,
Aerosmith
by the
tribute?
way, I love the Atomic Pumps was really great when you
Literally
were
holding girls' shoes.
You could be in a friend.
Yeah. So, but I just wanted to say,
Dude, it was a tribute to early Van Halen. So
Yeah,
we just
awesome.
specialized in doing Diamond David Lee Roth Van Halen.
Yeah.
And every now and then we throw like a like a Dave solo record in there.
you guys were you're so talented. You guys are unbelievable musicians, as everyone else on this call. And I want to raise my last happy birthday to Izzy. Izzy, I gotta jam. Thank you for having me on the show, guys.
Dude,
It's so good to see
you are
all of
always
you.
welcome, and I cannot wait till we can drink in person.
Likewise, guys.
Yeah, Ahmet, thanks, man.
Thank you.
Good to meet you, bro.
Cheers, buddy.
Guys, nice to meet all of you if we haven't met before. And Joe, I the fact that you like Kingdom Come and Corey Hart, I'll let the guys.
Wait, hold
review
it.
that.
I love Kingdom Come, by the way.
Hi guys.
Oh, but hold on.
Yeah.
Before you go, 5150 or eat them.
Oh, 5150.
5150.
I love it. I
All right,
love
guys.
it.
See you
There
guys.
we go. Take care,
You-
brother.
See ya.
Who was mentioning about the visual aspect of the, I don't know, it was Joe or it was Ahmet was mentioning about the visual aspect of the Eat 'em and Smile record. The interesting feeling for me in working on the Templeman book is that I really got to hear that from Ted is that the first few recording sessions, which they actually did in Berkeley with the Eat 'em and Smile band, were all meant to be songs that were going to be in the movie. So this is when Dave's movie was still a go. And so
Yeah.
it was things like Shy Boy and then That's Life and then Going Crazy. And one other, I can't remember which other song it was, maybe Bump and Grind, were all meant to be like parts of the movie. Like it was going to be like a scene was, Dave was going to run in the room and the guys were going to be playing and they were going to do the songs. And so to kind of realize that then they back-ended the rest of the record at Power Station in New York, that was really interesting. And the other comment I was going to make about the kind of the love coming through speakers that Joe was talking about is, I basically picked up and kind of talking to Ted and talking to Don a little bit about this. It just seems like it was really a black time for Ed when Dave left, that it was, what are we going to do? Like, what are we going to do when they were thinking they're never going to find the right person? We're going to get, we'll get Phil Collin, we'll get Pete Townsend, we'll get all these guys to kind of sing on the record. And then to sort of have it click so well with Sammy, I think that's part of it was probably a euphoria, especially for those guys. But even Mike, I remember reading an interview with Mike Anthony saying like, the check stopped coming. He's like, we weren't going broke, but it's like, shit, you're like, shit, we're not making, suddenly it's like, like the big checks are like dwindling, cause they were kind of sitting there in kind of a holding pattern with no singer. And so I think that's part of that excitement was the sort of, we found something that's going to work when you think you're never going to find somebody to replace David Lee Roth. Who's going to replace him?
Well, even, what was it? The Farm Aid thing. I remember watching that and that was, maybe 6 months before the album came out. Right then I was like, this is going to be good. This is going to be cool. Like there's, I see it.
What did DLR say at Farm Aid? I'm here to plow your field.
I'm here to plow your field. Yeah. Look at all the farmers here tonight.
But like with Eat 'em and Smile, like what Mike was saying, like I didn't get to see Van Halen on the 1984 tour. So the Eat 'em and Smile tour was kind of like the closest I could get to that kind of energy, like that sort of, not a spectacle, but just that, the Dave show, you know.
I was 8.
It was fucking mind-blowing to me, you know, just because it was just so much coming at you, you know. And where the Van Halen thing, it was right there for you. You had the music, but this was just like, holy fuck! It was more energy than I, you know. I was 13, you know. So
Right. Well, look, I mean, look, look, for me, it was, dude, the Live Without a Net on the MTV show, the concert that fucking Van Halen had, and I recorded it, and that's because, like, okay, so like my first Van Halen record that I owned was Van Halen 2, and that was for Christmas.
What's the first one you stole?
I've never stole anything, sir. I am a good Catholic boy who has never broken, never sinned. I've never drank. I've never had sex out of marriage because
we know
been
that.
married. Yeah, we know that. We know that. So for
trying girl before.
So 1 year for Christmas, I got a portable CD player, and this was like when they first came out, and 3 CDs. And I remember because it was before I was able to drive. Because after I was driving, I had a 74 Firebird, which had a cassette player in it, and I had Van Halen 1. But my first album was Van Halen 2 on CD with that package that my mom gave me. But I remember it's like, yeah, there were great songs and it was cool and it was awesome. But I saw that fucking Live Without a Net, and that just blew me away. And I heard the record and it blew me away. And I heard Dave's record and it was awesome too. But I think because of how old I was and really getting into it at that time, I think that's why I kind of leaned towards the Sammy era. And also because that was my first big time show, which was Monsters of Rock. You know, the OUA12, Van Halen, Scorpions, Dokken, Metallica, Kingdom Come for $25 on the main floor. I mean, it was, I mean,
really, Greg, I want to ask one thing real
Please.
quick, to Greg, because you mentioned Ted Templeman. I recently read an interview with him that when he was originally signing Van Halen or bringing them into the label, that he had actually mentioned wanting to work with Sammy rather than Dave, you know, because he wasn't really thrilled with Dave singing, and he wanted to, you know, he was mentioning, or at least imagining, Sammy singing with the band when Sammy was in Montrose. I wanted to, was there any, do you know anything about that?
I do. It's absolutely true. Yeah. Ted will talk about how when he saw Van Halen at the Starwood, he said he just completely locked in on Ed, that he was just thought he was one of the best musicians he had ever seen live before. And Ted's a jazz guy, and talked about how Ed was to him was playing like a bebop player would play the trumpet. That was sort of his take on it. Ted's a trumpet player. And so, yeah, he said that, he said the band was good, the songs were good, but the guitar player was extraordinary. And he said when he got Van Halen in the studio to do the demo for Van Halen 1, so this would have been months before they recorded the first record, like 6 months before. He said that he listened back to the tape and it was cut live. And he said, a lot of the shit Dave was doing wasn't acceptable. And I was just like, how are people going to receive this? Because I'm hearing this and I'm hearing Dave flub these notes. And, he just said he was like having a real hard time. And that's when he started to think about, even before that, sort of thinking about, well, if it really doesn't work, if a guy can't cut it in the studio, isn't going to be able to pull it off, I could call Sammy. He never called Sammy. However, the punchline of the story is that Ted said he started spending a lot of time with Van Halen because he lived in Pasadena, actually within like a 10-minute drive, Ted did, of Dave's mansion. And they used to all meet there for rehearsal, and Ted would hang out. Ted would do a Doobie Brothers session during the day, and then he'd go over there late at night and sit there and listen to these guys. And he talked to Dave quite a bit, and he started to really understand how bright Dave was and read the lyrics. And he's coming up with this stuff like Atomic Punk, and he's talking about love, and he's listening to him sing, and he's going, you know what? It's going to work with this guy. We can make it work. Yeah, there's some problems here vocally in terms of like, and again, Ted's context is like Doobie Brothers, right? Carly Simon, it's like Michael McDonald, and then there's Dave. So you can kind of understand like where Dave was like, kind of out of that realm.
Yeah, exactly. But
And
that was part of the
Shut up,
charm of it.
Michael McDonald.
Yeah. So, for Ted though, he talked about how he basically did a total 180 on Dave and was like, this is exactly the right guy. He's he is the right guy. He has the rapport with Ed. He's smart. He's great with fans, the girls, he just kind of saw the whole package and sort of, said, I'm going to work with this guy. We're going to coach it up and we're going to make it work. And he was right. He said in the book, if I had ever thought about pushing Dave out of Van Halen, it would have been the biggest mistake in rock history, bar none.
Yeah. Did he mention that he helped Dave write a lot of melodies?
He did. He talked about how basically he just bounced stuff off Dave. Like he gave Dave enormous credit for being quick on his feet, like with lyrics, like everybody wants them and all this stuff. Like Dave, he said, just like sat in a chair and like flopped down and would come up with him like, this is pretty damn good. This is good. But he did talk about that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting in the other book, the Van Halen Rising book, that was like an eye opener to me too, just to see, our relationship with the band starts at Van Halen 1 and you just hear, it's perfection all the way around, but how it was perceived, even when it came out to like some of the critics and stuff, and it's just like, well, you don't hear what we hear. You know what I mean? It's very interesting, but like even before, just how Dave was perceived to Ted and all that stuff,
Right.
It was really,
I know Michael knows Tracy G really, really well, the guitar player. And he was like one of my best people I interviewed for the book because Tracy started seeing Van Halen way before Dio, any of that stuff. He saw him when it was like 1975, the Golden West Ballroom. Tracy was like 14. He used to basically bum rides from his friends. And he said it's just like he said, Tracy kind of took it all in. He was like, the guitar player was incredible. He's like, you know what? The singer wasn't perfect, but didn't give a shit. He was great with women. He was great on his feet. He just had the great charisma. He said, like, you could see the whole thing. And he said, it was just like mind blowing. And he said, one of my favorite Tracy stories told me, he said, like, he got up the courage to talk to Dave. This is like 1976. He like went up to Dave before a show and Dave was wearing, like he said, his roadie clothes. They'd wear these like army polo, like the Air Force jumpsuits to load their gear in. So he sees Dave and Tracy goes up to him and goes, hey man, hey, you guys are pretty good. Goes, yeah, we're pretty good. Like something, yeah, we are. Or something like that. And he's like, Tracy, the guitar player, goes, oh shit, man, your guitar player, he's incredible. How does he do it? And Dave's like, let me tell you, kid, how it goes. Go to his house 7 o'clock in the morning. He's got the guitar on. You stop over at lunch. He's got the guitar on. At dinner, he's eating. He's playing the guitar. That's how you get great. Okay, kid, I got to go load the gear. Tracy was just like, oh shit. He said like it was like full on David Lee Roth. Like this was like 2 years before. And it was just like when Tracy had the best. I know Michael knows him. He said like the best stories of like being a teenager and kind of looking at this guy who's like 20, 21, 22 years old, and you're 16, and like. It's not David Lee Roth. It's just Dave Roth, the singer of this band Van Halen. And then like 2 years later, Tracy's in the audience at Anaheim Stadium. And he's like, they parachuted out of the plane, man. They think of everything. They think of everything. And he's like, he just said it was incredible.
Hold on. There's a question from Brandon in the chat room. And this is for Michael. It would have been the night before Thanksgiving, a few years back, when you were supposed to do Lucky Strike with the Eat 'Em and Smile band, and then Dave decided to do it. Was there rehearsals for that, or was that going to be a just show up and go type of thing? I was already banned from Ultimate Jam at that point by 2 weeks.
I was there.
By 2 weeks. I was banned 2 weeks ago, or a week ahead of that, actually.
No, you were there?
Yeah. I was there. Yeah. And my buddy Andy, who works for Steve, when I got there, and I got there pretty early, he texted me and he was like, he was supposed to meet me there. And he was like, hey man, I can't make it, but just so you know, and you can't tell anybody, Dave's going to get on stage. And I was like, so I was standing there like in the middle of all this, and people were
don't tell anybody. Don't
tell anyone.
I know the fucking big secret that nobody else knows, I'm just standing there. And, they like, you heard Steve Vai sound checking his guitar and you were, that was a crazy night, man.
Yeah, Michael.
I'm going to tell you. You ready?
Yeah.
Greg called me and said, hey, we're thinking about putting a band together to do this anniversary for Eat 'Em and Smile. We want to get Dave to sing it, but he's probably not going to do it because he's working with Van Halen and stuff, and Eddie will get pissed. So you want to sing it? And I'm like, no. I'm like, fuck yeah, of course I do. He goes, do you need to rehearse? And I go, No, I don't.
No. Actually, no.
I never say that arrogantly. I just like, I fucking listen to shit all the time. I love it. You know,
Have you heard of the Atomic Punks?
Yeah. I'm fucking ready to go. And the night before, fucking Steve Vai calls me, and I've never spoken to Vi ever in my life. I'm sitting right where I am in my studio / laundry room. He goes, "Hey, it's Steve Vai." I go, "What's up, man?" He goes, "Hey, listen, man. First of all, I want to thank you for being willing to come down and sing, but Dave decided he's going to come." And I swear to God, I was like, "Oh, my heart sunk." I was so bummed, right? But then, like, immediately, I was like, "Can I come?" He's like, "Of course you can, man." They go, "Wait." He's like, "We really want you to come, man. Just hang out and stuff." And that night was fucking so exciting, man. I went backstage and I got to hang out with Dave, and I've never had hung out with him for that long ever and talked to him. And he was a super, super nice, great dude. And it was the best experience I've ever had in my life. And the fucking show never happened. Like,
exactly.
It was so crazy. It was funny because I went with a friend of mine, and I didn't even tell him, I just had this like little secret to myself. I'm like, fuck, these people don't even know what's about to happen, And I remember John 5 was on, and he was playing really long. And I was like, man, this place is filling up. Like, I kind of had the little premonition that they might shut this freaking place down, because it was just really, really packed. I'm like, they got to get this guy off the stage so they can do this, And yeah, well, it was like a minute to showtime. And,
it was too, because I was there. On stage, and I'm standing there. Come back to Dave. They go, "Come on, we got to go. Everyone's on stage." And Dave's like,
"I remember seeing you there. I remember seeing you there tonight." Yeah.
Oh, what a night!
Why did it not happen? Why?
The fire marshal closed the venue down because it was over capacity.
Yeah, people were sneaking in the back. It was just.
That was like the worst kept secret. Joe, you were the only one that wasn't telling anybody that was happening.
Joe, you told somebody.
Tell your friend. But Rika and I don't remember where we were, but we're like, we're not even wasting our time trying to get down there because it's going to be a shit show. And everyone's like, we could get you in. We're like, we don't even want to be. It's going to be so packed. And
I remember I was driving Lyft that night, and I was driving somebody, and I drove by Lucky Strike, and I saw the line, and I kind of wept a little bit, knowing that I wasn't able to go because I was banned from.
Oh, wait, time out. Before you finish this story, why were you banned from Lucky Strike?
He peed on the issue person's
that's a good enough answer.
No, I wasn't banned from Lucky Strike.
What do you have to do to get banned from the Ultimate Jam Night?
Banned from a bowling alley.
There was an issue with Chuck, even though I had been hosting Ultimate Jam Night.
No, that's so weird.
But I'm not gonna get it because I don't.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? Can I say something
stupid? Yeah,
this combination of just being on with you guys feels so nice to be able to be with people and talk about Van Halen, and because I don't know, I'm isolated.
Yeah.
Eddie passed away, and I realized how devastating it was for everybody. But for myself personally, it just fucking, it sucks so bad. And to have, I don't know, after a few days of just like, every part of my life is based on fucking Van Halen. I'm mentally ill in some way.
Yes.
But my roots of everything I do in my life are started from Van Halen for me. And, it's nice to be around like-minded people that, have the same love for a band that I had. Because it's
Michael, you know what I really love about this too is I know you always have to be Michael Starr stage guy usually, like in interviews and all that kind of stuff, and now you're just fucking hanging and being a bro, and I've always known you as that anyways, but it's nice to I think it's going to be nice for a lot of people to hear this side of you on a different level too, just fucking hanging and talking about Van Halen.
But I got to go soon because I got to fuck some bitches.
In Oklahoma.
Oh man, no, it's great, man. I love Van Halen. Paul, it's good to see you too, Paul.
Good to see you. It's been a long time.
Yes, really long time.
Really long time, right?
we did our thing the night that he passed, you know, me, Greg, and Izzy and a couple other guys. And it was really like a healing thing for all of us. You know, I mean, we all kind of knew it was going to happen eventually. It was going to happen, you know, soon, but just, it doesn't prepare you for this. And I think that, you know, because of, you know, and I said from the day I discovered Van Halen when I was, you know, 8 years old, I don't think a day has gone by where I don't listen to them. It's just, it's part of me. You know, he affected me in such a way that no one else has, you know. And, you know, I met him for a brief moment when I was 15 and he was so cool. Like he treated me like I was, you know, just a fellow musician. He did not have that rock star thing. And I think, you know, just what we're doing, talking about these two records, you know, I think that's really what separates the two albums and the two bands, you know, is Ed. You know, he was a musician. He just wanted to make music. He wasn't, you know, he wasn't tripping on that whole thing. And Dave was the opposite. He was the ultimate rock star, you know, and you have these two extreme situations, you know what I mean? But I mean, it all existed because of him. You know what I mean? There would have been no Eat 'Em and Smile. There wouldn't have been no David Lee Roth if it wasn't for.
I can't imagine how David Lee Roth and Michael and Alex are feeling right now.
Yeah.
Right.
It was interesting, and I never really, until it happened, and we've been in my circle. It's just been for probably about a year, maybe 9 months to a year. It was he's going to go. It's going to happen, and it was just like in this side of the world, like in the business side of the world, it was, he wasn't doing well. That was the word. And it was just, that didn't take away any of the shock because we'd been hearing he wasn't doing well for so long, you stopped listening to him.
Right,
but,
exactly.
It was crazy because my instinct still, and I haven't been writing for a long time, my instinct when something happens is to sit down and write. And that's because that's still how I let it go.
Mm-hmm.
It was interesting. Lefsetz wrote his thing. And I read Lefsetz's thing and it pissed me off because Bob always pisses me off. And I immediately responded to Lefsetz. And it was crazy because in my head, I've never, like, I could tell Kiss stories. I could tell Poison stories, Warrant stories, LA Gun stories. It's like, I never really equated Eddie Van Halen with my career until I started writing the Lefsetz. And I realized I'd interviewed Eddie Van, and I'm not a musician at all. I'd interviewed Eddie Van Halen twice before I ever was a national writer. When I was like a critic at the Milwaukee Journal and the rock editor for the Night Sights and Sounds in Wisconsin, I did 2 interviews with Eddie Van Halen before I ever even wrote for Metal Edge. And it actually dawned on me. I'd also interviewed Dave before I was at Metal Edge. I probably wouldn't have gotten, because anyone on the call that knows Jerry Miller, and I know you do, Ralph, what got me that was the fact that A, I knew the bands from the 80s, and B, holy shit, you got an Eddie Van. How have you done 2 interviews with Eddie Van Halen and David Lee Roth, and I don't know who you are? And it was like really interesting because it wasn't until that moment where I was writing the Lefsetz, like responding to what he wrote, that it dawned on me that Eddie probably has a bigger role than anybody in the fact that I ever got to Metal Edge, because the number 1 clip when I sent Jerry a bunch of writing samples was number 1 clip was Eddie Van Halen. Number 2 was David Lee Roth. Number 3 was Ozzy Osbourne. That was it. It was like, and Jerry was like, I don't need to see anything. You're hired. If you could get these interviews, you're hired. That was it. And it was like,
there's a resume, kid.
Yeah, you know, you know, I'm friends with Joe Augello from the Robin Thicke band.
Yeah.
I love you, Schnookums. All right, let's do this. Let's wrap up. There's partying to be done in North Hollywood this evening.
Wait, what's everybody's pick? Did we ever go?
Yeah, that's what we're doing right now. I'm gonna go top around. Dawson, which album and why?
You know, as much as each album really displays its own mastery of its craft at the time and the world it's living in, 5150 is timeless, and I would be doing myself and musical America a disservice if I voted anything other than that.
I love it. Greg Renoff.
You know, for me, Eat 'Em and Smile, it's got to be. I saw Van Halen many times on with Sammy, and I saw the 5150 tour and all stuff. I loved all that stuff, but to me, it always felt like that was more part and parcel of what when I saw the 1984 tour and the Van Halen that I sort of started loving in 1984, trying to listen to all the albums, and then Dave leaves. You know, that always felt like more in the spirit of what I associated Van Halen with. So, you know, maybe it hasn't aged as well to some people, but I still enjoy stuff like Ladies Night in Buffalo, and I like Shy Boy and, you know, all that stuff. You know, I'm Easy. I enjoy it. 5150 is a great record, but I probably would reach for Eat 'Em and Smile first.
Yeah, and like I said, I mean, those covers aren't bad songs. They're great songs, and nobody's wrong. I mean, unless you disagree with me. Andre Comeau, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with I like bands, I like chemistry, and I definitely think that Van Halen had the chemistry on 5150, and I really do believe that when they got Sammy, they had they reinvented themselves, and they really were sort of reinvigorated. So I gotta give it to 5150.
Joe Augello.
Well, I have to say, Eat 'Em and Smile changed a lot of things for me, because I really was open to the world of Steve Vai and what he meant to me and what he became to me as a musician. And I got his guitar from the tour. And,
yes, you do.
Yep. But 5150 is one of my favorite albums of all time, maybe in the top 3. And I have to go with 5150.
Wow.
Just the love fest. And I think just the energy and how those songs make me feel till this day. It's like every time I listen to those songs, it's like being 13 again and listening to them the first time. You know, my mom died 6 years ago, and I went to the funeral, and I was so fucked up. And I remember I got in my dad's car, and I just said, Mom, you know, like I just spoke to her and just said, I need to smile. Just give me something to, you know, that'll make me smile. And I turned the key, I swear to God, and that fucking keyboard from Why Can't This Be Love came on.
That's awesome.
And I was just like, and she knew that was like my favorite song. You know what I mean? And I couldn't have like, and that says so much to me. You know, it may not be my favorite song, but it's the song that makes me the happiest out of anything, you know? And yeah, I'm going with 5150.
There you go. All right, oh my God, I can't believe we're going to do this. Red Cup Geoff, are you paying attention? All I see is a cup. Red, are you paying attention right now? No, he's not. Paul Gargano.
So this was I've been listening to 5150 a lot. I've actually been, before Eddie's passing, I rediscovered the Sammy catalog, because it was very, very underappreciated on I always liked it, but I didn't realize how much I missed it going back to it years later. Balance album, For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge, all of it. This was a no-brainer for me when you told me about it. It was 5150. It wasn't even going to be close. The other day I listened to 5150. The trinity of Dreams, Why Can't This Be Love, and Summer Nights is just insane. At that song that album ended, I put on Eat 'Em and Smile, and it's not even fucking close. Eat 'Em and Smile is a better record.
Ooh. Wow.
You know what? It's got more color. It's got more, and again, I could get into the whole being a pop guy, the aesthetic of the songs and everything, but the palette that David Lee Roth worked with on Eat 'Em and Smile is fucking genius, and that is in the album cover, and 5150 is a great cover too, don't get me wrong, but
right,
that Eat 'Em and Smile record is goddamn close to perfect. I mean, I'm going,
dude,
and you know
great.
What? There isn't a song on that record as good as any of the 3 songs off 5150, but I'll take that album from top to bottom any day.
Wow. Michael Starr, being the guy that has done the David Lee Roth thing, this one is going to be interesting.
Well, 5150 was a great record. You cannot deny that. The songwriting's great. Sammy Hagar is an amazing singer. All the stuff. For me, David Lee Roth was one of my main influences vocally. So Sammy Hagar eludes me, man. I cannot sing as high as him. You know?
I love that.
So
Sammy Hagar eludes me.
he totally eludes me, bro. It's like, fuck, it's so
Fucking
high.
great. He was just here. Where'd he go? He alluded to me again.
Oh, he's gone.
He needs some of Mike's hot sauce to sing.
Oh, dude, I'll tell you, man. You look at David Lee Roth. For me, was somebody that I enjoy. 5150 was a record that had the spirit of Van Halen, and I don't know. I would go with. See, here's the tough thing, man. They're both great records.
It's apples and oranges because
It really is. But for
it's
me,
so tough.
For me to say one or the other, I feel like I'm, it's just not right.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Because I have to hold on, hear me out. Since I have to make a decision, I'm picking 5150 because David Lee Roth was my first vocal influence, and that's it.
So
wait.
I'm confused. That reasoning does not add up.
What just happened?
You know what?
What just happened?
You know what?
My brain eluded me.
Oh my God.
Michael, look, I think it's one of those fucking things where you say what you really mean when you're trying to say something else.
So you know what I think?
And you wanted to choose 5150.
I know you did that on purpose.
4-4, which means Jeff's got to give his opinion because he's the deciding vote. The first thing he says this entire call is going to decide it.
Actually, I still haven't gone yet, but
Michael, Michael, how on earth can you pick 5150?
I fucked
everything
up.
I ever believed in. Everything I ever believed in.
Mike, I fucked
is now ash.
You meant to say Eat 'em and Smile. That's what
You can't change your mind.
Under Lock and Keys, my favorite record. Let's go.
Geoff.
Does the Spanish version of Eat 'em and Smile come into play?
Well, loco. Fuck yeah, dude.
All right.
Geoff.
It's definitely Eat 'em and Smile.
Oh my Jesus.
Yeah, all right.
All right.
That was awesome.
I am saying, and I think I said it earlier in the show, I'm going to say it again. Top to bottom, the songs. Doesn't matter the style, the songs. DLR was fucking Van Halen on steroids. Van Halen was Van fucking Halen. 5150 all the way. So
wow. Nice.
The songs.
Way to commit. Way to
Dude,
commit.
Summer Nights might be my favorite Van Halen song.
Especially if you're someone who loves radio. I did 20 years in radio. And any song that they mention the radio in,
that's a good point.
That automatically fucking drags a connection to your brain.
I think my two favorite ever Van Halen songs are "Somebody Get Me a Doctor" and "Summer Nights." Those are the two. And it's I have to go with 5150. I'm sorry. I mean, there's some songs on Eat 'em that just are like, but 5150 top to bottom.
There's a couple on 5150. That's not
I disagree. I disagree. I disagree.
The last song, The Inside, that shouldn't have even been on there.
Actually, I love that. I love that. I love that.
They should have put the one where he does the riff from Saturday Night Live. It's called I Want Some Action. Yeah.
Y'all had your chances to make your statements and your arguments. The votes are fucking in. The argument is over.
Wait a
minute. Before we go, we need like wait.
We're not doing this shit again.
But the fucking rum is kicking in. I'm like, wait a second, fucking elephant gun. Fucking
dude.
Hold on.
I got one gun for
Time
each of you.
Time out. Scotty Strickland from Canada. Hold on. I got to play the sound effect. He says Michael Starr is thinking about banging one of the Golden Girls and it got him distracted. There you go.
He wasn't here for the
I know he wasn't even here for that conversation, but it's hilarious. And this is actually a draw.
Nice.
It is a draw because if you put Ahmet in it too.
Ahmet's 5150.
Yeah, he made it.
That's awesome.
People. Was it 4.5 to 4.5? How could you have a draw when it's 9 people? That's why I said Red Cup was the deciding vote, and he said,
Yeah, Izzy, get your shit straight. It's your birthday, but you can't fuck us up.
Paul coming at you with
Hold on.
math.
I
haven't had any of the great
water the entire time. So you know what? I got
I
this.
haven't had any of the great equalizer yet, so fucking bear with me.
You got me on a rare Zoom call where I'm over. That's the difference right now.
Let's do this really quick before we go. Mike Dawson, Adam Carolla show, the water cooler. Anything else?
Yeah, I exist. Los Angeles.
Dude, you got a record coming out soon.
I'd love you guys, all of you. You dudes, this has been totally fucking fun. We'll be in touch again.
This has been a fucking blast. Greg Renoff, they want to buy the book. I need to get those too, by the way. I'm gonna do that.
Get them both.
Thank God for editing, right?
Get them both. Where can they? Oh no, it's fucking live, motherfucker. Renoff, where can they get the books?
Amazon or visit my Twitter. I can help you out.
All right. If you visit your Twitter, can you get them signed?
You can.
There you go. Fucking Andre Comeau. I mean, are you signing copies of the Real World DVD series season 1? Or you got anything? I don't even
acknowledge it.
I know. I'm busting your balls. I'm busting your balls. People want to buy your record. You have a record out. You can get it electronically. Where can they get it?
Everywhere. Spotify, iTunes, everywhere.
Yeah, check it out. It's fucking badass. Joe Augello. We will have a 7-inch vinyl coming out soon. We have to get that done soon.
Yes, we do. And last year I produced a song with Sammy Hagar, a duet between him and his nephew called No Worries. And it should be coming out. I'm producing the whole record for his nephew. So it should be coming out pretty soon. So yeah, I did get to kind of work with Sammy. I got to, so it's gonna be good. It's a great song. So.
Fuck yeah. Gargano, anything to promote? You got bands doing anything? Are we gonna do anything with Metal Edge?
Let's see. I got the Perry Farrell, the long elusive Perry Farrell book that I wrote with him will be out November 7th, I believe, as part of his box set. There will be Metal Edge in one form or another as soon as I get with Izzy and we figure this out. But we are going to be doing something with Metal Edge again. Now Ahmet wants me to do the coffee table book. We'll have some stuff. There's stuff going on with Metal Edge. For those who don't know, like my business partner and I own the magazine now, so we control it completely. So we're going to be able to do stuff. And and then bands I manage. We're just started working with David Silvera from Korn's new band, Breaking in a Sequence. They're going to have a really, really cool cover coming out mid-November. So check that out.
Nice. I know this country band. You should take on.
I love a good cover.
Yeah, it's a really good cover.
Red Cup Geoff, you're just drinking in Vegas with the Red Cup and you're actually wearing a shirt, so you have nothing to talk about. Michael Starr, you guys just did a drive-in. Are you guys going to be doing more of that stuff? I mean, yeah, you got the commercial.
I forgot to tell you guys that Greg Bissonette and his brother played on that track for the commercial.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Cool.
Hey, Michael.
Yes.
Can you nutshell it for me and within 45 seconds to a minute of what the fuck is happening with live music in the next year?
Nobody has any idea.
Okay, good. That's a nutshell.
There you go.
Thank you.
Let me just promote this, okay? We're doing a virtual show.
Yeah.
Halloween. So if you want to go to whoever's watching, if you want to pick up a ticket, it's $15, and it's unlimited guest list for each ticket you buy. So think about that.
Nice, dude. That's badass.
However many people you could illegally not social distance in your living room can all watch it, right?
You know what you can do, dude? You can do a thing where it's like create your own backstage.
That's right.
Yeah. Dude, Michael, did I tell you what happened last time I was backstage at a Steel Panther show?
What happened? What'd you catch?
Okay, so I was there with my friend. Aiden, and we had just done the podcast, and I was actually singing at the Viper Room that night because it was a Monday night, because it was when you guys were doing the Roxy, right? And we got a little fucked up during the podcast,
And then all of a sudden it turned out I was going with her to Steel Panther at the Roxy. So we go to the Rainbow and get more fucking
Did you
hammered.
go on stage and take your shirt off?
I did not.
Yeah.
So I go backstage, and of course, the first person we see is Ron Jeremy. That was the night, Mike, that was the night that I'm like, dude, did you get my text? And you go, I don't know. And I text you, yeah, he goes, yeah, okay, cool. I'm sorry. I'm terrible. But so I'm hammered. I'm fucking, I should not be talking to anybody at this point. And in a circle,
So Michael won the lottery that day. That's
yeah, right. In a circle, I see Jeff Ross, Sophie Simmons, Drew Carey. And I thought it was an amazing idea to get into that conversation. And there was a break, and I tapped Sophie on the shoulder. I'm like, you're Sophie. She's like, yeah, I'm Izzy. Hey, it's nice to see you, blah, blah, blah. And then the drunk hit me, Jeff Ross, you should do a podcast. And I just made an ass out of myself. But then I realized where I was and what I was doing, and I need to get out of this conversation right now. I go, you guys have a lovely evening. I apologize for annoying you. But that was the last time I was backstage at a Steel Panther show.
And it was probably the last time you'll ever be backstage at a Steel
Absolutely. No, absolutely. Absolutely.
I would want to know how the fuck you got backstage.
I was just gonna say,
Thank your stage manager.
They won't even let me backstage, bro.
Dude, thank you guys so much. I'm gonna hit the outro music. Just bear with me, and we'll say goodbye off the air. All right, next week. I don't know what the fuck is happening. Jeffrey Roth just checked in. Sorry I'm late. Had to crash a wedding in Oklahoma. True story. Anyways, get up, eat him, and smile. Whoa. Actually, we tied. So Lori Nichols says, Izzy stole the undies. Bruce Gillespie, Canada, go back to Canada when you can, Mike. Edmonton dig Steel Panther. Anyways, check out all the social media at Real Izzy Presley all across the board, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And of course, the show page is another effing podcast. And yes, you can buy t-shirts and all that shit there with the Shop Now link. And yes, you can donate to the show. And I forgot to tell everybody that there's a raffle for everybody that listens to this at the end of the week. And the winner gets to buy me the brand new EVH Frankie.
Nice. Can we do a raffle for me?
Yes, we can do that too. Big Flicker says square reels in Canada. I love it. Anyways, see you guys next week. I do love you all.
Happy birthday,
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, buddy.
I fucking love you guys. Thank you guys so much. Don't forget, what I lack in talent, I make up for.
Come back once.